Yang is the red one in terms of total followers. Again, you'd see here, like if you looked at this, you would say, wow, that red line seems to be growing and closing the gap. We should hear more from that candidate at the next debate. Right? And then you'd be like, well, yeah, the blue line's kind of nice, but it's kind of flattening out. And the purple line for sure is a healthy one. And then this is sort of like daily new additions. So like, let's say on January 8th, Yang added 3,000 Twitter followers, Buttigieg 2,000, Warren almost 6,000. On January 9th, 2,000 versus 927 versus 4,000, and then 2,000 versus 1,000 versus 3,000. Like you could argue Yang is for sure in the running with Warren and Buttigieg on Twitter interest. And I understand, yeah, Twitter's not like the entire country, but it's not like some random website that only 1% of the people use either, right?
True.
So at least when we look at the Google search, YouTube search, and Twitter data, it suggests that Yang is absolutely like in the running. And it's just a shame that the traditional polls are not reflecting that. And the other problem is that you raised, that we have so many national polls, but very few early state polls. And what I've heard the Democratic Party say, as well as the Republican Party, is like, hey, one of the benefits of Iowa and New Hampshire is anybody can run and you can do retail politics. And Iowan and New Hampshire voters take it really seriously, and they do a lot of homework, and they go out to the events, and they listen to all the candidates. Well, if that's the case, then why aren't you polling them?
It makes no sense. Like because I love data. And if you go back and look at what happened after Iowa voted in all the previous Democratic primaries, it changes everything.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't be focused on national polls at all when you're trying to set up the debates, because you never know what's going to happen. And if you just focus on national polls, then you're just saying the person with the most name recognition gets into the debate, and the person that doesn't have the name recognition doesn't. I really liked your idea actually about just changing the format of a couple of the debates coming up and saying, okay, we've seen these same people debate already. Why don't we do, like you said, a different way to get into debates that's based on public interest of wanting to hear their ideas?
Yes.
And then it might be different people in the debate, but at least people would get to see something different.
Yeah, like you could even focus it on, I've heard that like 40% are undecided, and even for the ones who are supporting, they're kind of like still up, making up their mind. So you could say, okay, if you are undecided, which of the following 6 or 7 do you want to learn the most about?
Right, because that's important. I mean, you want those people to get involved.
Yeah, but I guess we're not running the DNC yet. So, but hopefully someone who works in the party will hear these voices, because ultimately we all want the same thing. We want victory in November 2020. And why like alienate enthusiastic people who are going to roll up their sleeves in the general by having these kind of strange qualification rules? Because it doesn't cost them that much. Like, would it be the end of the world if they had a who do we want to learn more from debate? Like, what's it to them? Like, I don't know. So,
and like, we need all the different ideas. That's my favorite thing about this election cycle. Is these are different candidates. I mean, all of these candidates have different strengths and different areas that they've worked in, and they can bring different ideas to the table. And I really think that having Bernie in 2016, it did change the Democratic Party for the better.
Yes.
Whether or not people wanted to support him, it always helps to bring in new ideas. That was one of Donald Trump's biggest talking points. I'm not establishment Republican, and I've got all these new ideas, and I'm going to shake things up. Whether he actually did that or is capable of doing that, I very much doubt. However, people want that, and it's never the safe candidate. Obama was not the safe candidate. John Kerry was the safe candidate. Bush wasn't the safe candidate. You can go back to the 60s. It's never the safe candidate. It's the candidate that can enthuse the most people. And like you said, if you lock people out of the discussion, then their supporters don't feel heard. And why would they care?
Yeah. Totally. Well, let's take a look at the calendar, and then we'll get to the state Senate race that you're putting on yourself. So here's the debate calendar. We got the Des Moines debate coming up just in a couple of days on Jan 14th, hosted by CNN and Des Moines Register at Drake. Then you've got Feb 7. In Feb, there's going to be two, one in Las Vegas and one in Manchester, New Hampshire. Oh, there's going to be three in Feb. Wow. Yeah, so this is a perfect example of why debate criteria are really crucial, right? Because if they pull the same stuff, basically they're going to force the field to narrow based on name recognition. And all those undecided and all those people that people want to learn more from, may not get heard. And then in terms of course, the caucus and primary calendar, I mean, this is coming up fast. I mean, February is going to be an amazing month, right? You got Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, South Carolina. Big time. Big time. And then, of course, you have Super Tuesday and March 3rd. I guess we have to kind of buckle up because February is going to be, I'm not going to say make or break, but if you're an outsider kind of insurgent candidate like Yang that's trying to shake things up, and you don't come through in Iowa, Nevada, or South Carolina or New Hampshire, like it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough sledding, which is why the fact that there are multiple debates in February gives opportunities to really have Yang's message and any candidate who wants to get elected have their message heard. So hopefully everybody out there that's listening, I would encourage them to put some pressure on the DNC to really be very mindful of how the next round of debate criteria are set. And hopefully they'll hear that, wow, you know what? Like even if it's just the perception of being biased, like it's probably not going to be in the party's interest in the long run. So let's go out of our way and avoid any even appearance of bias and purposely make it so some of the smaller, lesser known candidates can be part of the process. And then, yeah, of course, if Biden or Sanders win, then I think more of us would be willing to vote blue and lean into it in the summer.